Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the We Know Traitors podcast over here on RHAP. I'm your host, the Duke of Deception, Pooya Vakili, with a brand new cast member to talk about today as we continue our road to the premiere of Traitors US Season 4 on January 8th. We're here to talk about a housewife today, a housewife who I'm familiar with because she was one of the housewives I had known before even recognizing what the housewives was. So I'm very excited to learn about her, and with us here, someone who is going to give us all the lore needed. One half of the Dancing with the Stars coverage over here on RHAP, one half of the Free Agents, one half of the Diary Room, one half of many a thing.
Diary Room. Oh, let's go back.
I was hitting them with a throwback here. We got Matt Liguori in the building. Matt, how you doing?
Oh, I'm so good. You jumped ahead of I was going to ask you the first question at some point of how much do you know about Lisa Rinna? Just because I feel like that is a name that's we'll get into this all. Her career did start before Housewives, and I feel like there's a chance that I would have expected you might have heard of her prior to that. But I love to, be here for one of the Bravo people, but I love to listen to all of these when you're talking about a lot of the Bravo people that you don't know as well. I feel like in particular for you, it's probably, really helpful to get this extra information on people that are so close to our reality world that like RHAP we know so well, but just like right on the outside a little bit.
Yeah, it's been one of those things that I feel like after we did this series last year, it was huge for my enjoyment of the season. Not that it made me enjoy the season more than like say season 2, but I just felt more invested and more intrigued by some of the people who were not doing exactly how we predicted they would do, or some people who exactly were as advertised.
Right.
And just knowing stuff like that was very nice.
Yeah, I think I got my prediction as close as I possibly could have hoped for with Sierra Miller last season. I think I might have been like an episode or two off, but I know I got the faithful part right. So we'll see how the predictions go today.
Yeah, some of the guests who are repeating from last season who came in with a new profile, they've done very poorly in their comparisons. Specifically, and this is not to name and shame.
Do it.
Haley Strong and I talked about Wells, and we were so positive on him. So he's going to do so well. And then Homeboy was out the first night. So
I mean, what do you do with a show like this?
Yeah,
you can't account for that.
You with the Traitors especially, you can never tell. Like it could really go either way.
Yeah.
And so we're here to talk about someone who I would like to know which way you think it's going to go for her.
Oh, whatever way it goes, we are going to be so entertained along the way. I would say my biggest fear coming into this is hyping up Lisa Rinna in a way that Dorinda was hyped up last year and probably was hyped up again this year, in the sense of like, I want you to know that we have a good one on our hands here as far as like entertaining cast member. But I don't want us to all be disappointed whether it goes the Dorinda route of last season or just, I can't expect any world where Lisa Rinna does not give us quality television while she's there. But again, if it happens to be a shorter time than we're hoping for, I don't know. We have to all temper our expectations with this show, but we have a very good casting here.
Yeah, so I'm excited about this because I feel like Lisa Rinna and this is someone's novice opinion.
Yes,
I feel like is one of the bigger or biggest housewife names that we had not seen on the show yet. Is this fair to say?
Fair to say for sure. I would say like there's so many iconic housewives from all across different franchises, people that are active, people that are not active on the shows right now. There's probably like a top 10, 15, 20 that like could be in the same category that like you as a non-Housewives viewer would recognize the name even if you've never seen a second of the show. And Lisa's certainly in that category. You're probably like looking at her slightly outside of like maybe the top 5 names that you would want of like Bravo fans on like their wish list, your Nene Leakes, Teresa, like a lot of those names, but like she is so close to that. And if she's not in your top 5, again, she's close enough. She is made to be making reality television. That is what she is here on earth to do, and probably also everything she does in her personal life as well, but she is so good at making good TV.
And I am noticing, because you brought up how you expected me to potentially know her from something else because she had a whole career before Housewives, made me open her wiki. I did not realize how many things she was in before Housewives. This is a very long and extensive filmography I'm looking at here.
My funny backstory with Lisa Rinna correlates to something you mentioned already, Dancing with the Stars. She was on the second season of this show, and so that was my first season watching Dancing with the Stars. A
Oh,
very
incredible.
very young me was watching the second season of the show, and I remember Lisa Rinna, and I remember the adults in my life that were also watching Dancing with the Stars, and oh, Lisa Rinna with the lips, she's on this show, like wasn't the most well received, at least by the people that I was around. But I think that that's just kind of like her general, like probably even still to this day. Plenty of
Mhm.
people have negative opinions on her, and plenty of people that like good TV have maybe a little bit more positive opinions. But she has been around for a minute, like you're referencing. She started as an actress on a lot of soaps, or a couple different soaps that she was a regular on. And she has just been, I think, one of her mottos that she has for her career is like she never says no. She doesn't turn down jobs.
Mhm.
She will take whatever comes her way for the most part. So she's been doing things for longer than you and I were born, as long as we've been alive. And still to this day, I mean, she's not a housewife anymore. She exited the show a couple of years back. But she is not going anywhere as far as like people looking for her to be on shows as we're seeing here.
Yeah, I mean, she's still getting a lot of opportunities out here,
Yeah.
and is very active. Like, well, I'm seeing at least I can count on the screen at least 11 credits since 2021. So
Yeah, and a lot of them, maybe like some of the smaller roles and like
a
things. But
cameo.
again, she doesn't say no to a job. It's a job,
Mhm.
and she's not like headlining like big Hollywood movies, at least right now. But she's working, she's busy, she's doing a podcast with her husband, Harry Hamlin, a very notable name in Hollywood as well. They've been together for a very long time. I think they're hitting 30 years soon, if I was
Oh,
doing that math
amazing.
correctly. Yeah, they've been together for a minute. He's a very big part in her story, both in her career, obviously in her personal life. So yeah, there's a lot to get into with Lisa. And again, I just can't emphasize enough that I feel like she is going to bring a good, worthwhile bit of entertainment to us.
Okay, so then let's start unpacking that because we have watched now many seasons of The Traders. I know you also indulge in the international editions as well.
Mhm.
So we kind of, I think, have an understanding of what you need to be equipped to do well on this show. So I would ask you, which one of Lisa's endeavors do you think we need to talk about here that could attest to what she's going to bring to the castle?
It's definitely Housewives, as far as like to get a real sample of like what she will bring. I mean, it's not the same type of reality show. It's not a competition reality show, but it is a
Hmm.
show where you have a camera in front of you and your job is to create stories and have conflict and that kind of thing. Traders, obviously, hey, there's a whole game going on. A preview that popped out today included Lisa Rinna talking about her strategy for the game, and she basically said she has none. So we'll get into more
Hmm.
of that, I'm sure, and maybe how that goes into our expectations of how she's going to do. But she got the call to be here. She got to that castle, and her job is not, in her mind, to win the game. Her job is to be entertaining, make a good show, just like she
Hmm.
did for many years on Housewives. To the point where, I'll cut to the head of the ahead to the end of the story here. When her time on Housewives comes to an end, we're kind of at a point where she has been such a polarizing figure on that show for so long, and maybe took it a little bit too far. Housewives, you're really pushing stories. You're really like taking, whatever dirt you find on the fellow housewives and the husbands and this and that, and you're just running with it and trying to create drama for the show. That's the point. And so there were times that I think a lot of the fans, maybe even some people on production, thought that she might have been going a little too personal, a little too deep, a little too far. So that train stopped there, at least for now. But she still understands the assignment, and I think that's what we're going to expect here. So something similar to the Housewives, but maybe probably not as like harsh as things were towards the end of her run.
How many seasons was she on?
She was on seasons 5 through 12. I wrote that down. So yeah, she was on for a bit, from 2014 to 2022. And it's an interesting story for how she even got there in the first place, because at the beginning of Housewives' existence, I don't know if
Mhm.
Andy Cohen was as in charge at the time, or just like whoever the powers that be at Bravo, apparently weren't that interested in having actresses on the show. So her coming from an acting background, I think she said I was listening to an interview. She auditioned for the first season of the show, and they weren't interested at the time. They said they want real, authentic people and not actors. And by the time she gets added to the show, season 5, they kind of changed their minds a little bit. You have Lisa Rinna available, that she wants to do your show, or she's willing to do your show, I guess I should say. And you don't really pass up that opportunity. So I think a lot of people credit her for she's from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and I think a lot of people credit her for not necessarily saving that franchise, because that franchise has gone through a lot of dips of like, oh, what's going on here, but really giving it like a whole new life when she showed up.
Yeah, that's okay. So that's interesting to me. I'm also seeing here that she's made cameos in some of the other Housewives franchises as well.
Hmm.
Although one episode, maybe it's even like truly
Yeah,
a
that
blink
counts.
and you miss it. Yeah. But interestingly enough, okay, so yeah, I mean, it's so interesting to me now because heard her be described as a housewife so much that I just feel like she wasn't for a long time. But that is what she's known for now.
That's what a lot of people know her for now. Like, truly, if you ask probably anybody of like any given age, like anybody that would know who Lisa Rinna is, regardless of their age, they might give you 10 different answers as to where they know her from, what they've seen her on. So that it is a pretty wide range, but I would say like right now she's certainly still, she's not in the Bravo verse as much as she was because she's not on the show anymore, but like the Bravo fans are all still like very aware of whatever she's got going on. She's I think the podcast she's been doing with her husband is newer, for like the past year or so they've been
Mhm.
slowly talking some Bravo stories and behind the scenes and all that stuff. But yeah, just to see her here is definitely not surprising, that she would get the call, I should say. I don't know. I guess I also should just listen to myself and say, yeah, she doesn't turn down jobs if she can help it. So yeah, she's here.
All right. And she's here not alone. She's here with a whole cast of characters that are going to be joining her in the castle. Now, one of the things I've talked about in some of these previews, Matt, is that I don't see, and especially I'm learning more about all the housewives, and I believe just a little behind the scenes, Lisa's the last one I'm learning about here.
Okay.
Um, I don't feel like this is a group of housewives that's going to lock down and work together as a unit. Am I accurate in my read, or do you see it differently?
It's tough. I think that it might not be like going into it that any of these people were contacting one another. Any of these women were like, hey, like Lisa wasn't calling, I don't think, Portia and saying like, hey, you're going to be there, right? Like, let's make sure we're working together. Cause again, I don't think a lot of them, they're not the gamers. They don't go in pre-gaming or
Mhm.
anything like that. But I do think that there's an element, and we've seen this before, especially with whether it's just Housewives or Bravo family in general, that they get there and they're like, oh, the game is on. We have to look out for one another. And it's to the best of their abilities. I think that they can and they do. So I do anticipate a little bit of a Bravo alliance, specifically a Housewife alliance. But it's just tough because they're not going to be all playing the game as much as the gamers, or maybe some other people that are more familiar with the show. I don't know Lisa's familiarity with the show, but all that is to say that I do expect them to somewhat try to work together, or at least not actively go after one another, knowing that their strength in they have five people here this season, 5 of them. That's pretty good numbers coming into it.
It's a decent amount of numbers. And the other thing that I've been thinking is I do envision a world where one of the housewives is a traitor this season,
Yeah.
just because of how early they all went out last season. I don't think they want a repeat of that. Do you think Lisa could be a candidate for that spot?
Nope. Nope. No, no, no,
Yeah.
no, no. There's so many people that you could point to in the same category, but let's look at Omer on this most recent season of Traitors Canada. The person that goes, you don't have to make that person a traitor in order to get good TV out of them. They are going to be fun and chaotic and messy and fun. Did I say
Mhm.
fun twice? Without having to make them a traitor. So Lisa is going to be a chaotic faithful. If she ends up in that turret somehow, I will be so surprised. Maybe by recruitment, that's a different story. But as far as initial traitors go, you want this character, this person, to be one of the paranoid faithful running around the house, not a traitor.
Yeah. So then, okay, so that being answered, we think she's going to be a faithful. Who do you see her connecting with outside of the housewives? What kind of personalities can you see her gravitating towards?
So maybe it's just because she is so like madly in love 30 years later with her husband, and like they're doing this podcast together. It's such a big part of her journey, her story, that like anybody that it can even slightly remind her of her husband, or just like that kind of figure, I feel like could be someone that she clings to a little bit. And I gotta say, somebody that I've had my eye on is one Rob Sesternino, that I wonder if there could be some kind of connection there. I said this, I think, when you came on with Scally and I to do our draft when the cast first came out, that I feel like there could be some world that like Rob knows Lisa Rinna's. He's been around many a Lisa Rinna type. She's not from Long Island, but she gives off like Long Island energy in some ways. And so I feel like that could be a connection. Otherwise, I don't know. I think it's so hard to say for her specifically, because she can be so hot and cold with truly anybody. And I think that she will like really decide who she's going to get along with within like the first day or two in the house. Whoever she's not vibing with, she's probably going to lock in on and say, I'm coming after that person until they're gone, if there's anything she can do about it.
Incredible. Yeah, I feel good about the prediction that Rob would connect with Lisa. I feel like I can see Rob looking at some of these housewives and being like, I gotta like talk to, like, Rob is a bit of a social butterfly as well. So if Rob is trying to like have his hand in as many cookie jars as possible, I do see him trying to talk to one or two housewives, and I do see Lisa being on that short list for sure.
Yeah. And I think she's also guest judged on an episode of Drag Race, so maybe some kind of connection to Monet. I don't know if she's like actively actually, I think she might actively watch the show. So she probably knows Monet rather well. But I don't know. There's a lot of people. I can see her connecting with Mark Ballas. Mark was not a pro on Dancing with the Stars at the time that Lisa was there. Again, second season for Lisa. I think Mark joined in like the fourth or fifth season of the show, but there's some kind of connection there that they can bond over. Hey, I did the show a long time ago. So there's something there, but I don't know. I'm just excited to see wherever it lands for her.
Do we know if she's a fan of like Love Island or Survivor, or does she watch any reality TV, or is this someone who's like, I live it, I don't need to watch it?
I don't know that I've ever heard her talk about it or comment on it, so I'm gonna guess no. I feel like that is something that would have come up in a podcast or so that I would have heard from her at this point. But of course, we can get into another conversation of like the general like gamer fear that lives out there, and I can see her easily buying into that as well. So that's like my only hesitation of like, is she going to have any kind of love for Rob? I'm like, is she going to be afraid of him, or is she going to be like, oh no, I like this guy?
Who do you see her clashing with? Who is someone here you're like, yeah, I see them fighting at the round table for sure?
I mean, as much as I said, the housewife should stick together, a housewife is the prime candidate for that. I don't know exactly which one, and within the Bravoverse, BravoCon and all this kind of, there's so many events and so many working opportunities that these women have that they do very often work together, even if they're not from the same city, from the same franchise, that I can see them having some connection from, we've met before, but I don't think she has that close of a relationship with any of these women unless I missed something along the way. So those would still somehow be my prime candidate for her to get into some kind of battle with at the round table.
Yeah, I'm intrigued and a little bit more behind the scenes extra here for those. You're getting treated nice today. I am aware that Michael Rappaport has some kind of connection to Bravo / the Housewives. I've seen like video of him doing like the Andy Cohen interview show thing. What was it called? Watch What Happens Live,
Yes,
I think.
yes.
Yeah. And he's like arguing about, so he's like involved or knows Housewives stuff. So I wonder how he fits into the Housewives of it all. I will say his name hasn't come up in any of those previews, so I don't know, but I'm sure we'll get that connection later.
I will be extremely surprised if Lisa Rinna has a nice thing to say towards Michael Rappaport, is kind of where I'm thinking.
So then another candidate for a potential argument, then, is what you're
Yes,
saying.
yes. I think in my head, maybe I don't even like consider him because I'm just like, oh, he's got to be out so early, right? But who knows? Yeah.
Weirder things have happened. Okay, so is there anybody on this cast that you would like to talk about that you may not have gotten a chance to?
Not necessarily. I mean, I don't know how much time we got here, but I got some stories about Lisa if we want to keep it on her for.
I got all the time in the world. Yeah, let's
Amazing.
keep going. Yeah.
Well, people would crucify me if I was doing this Lisa Rinna podcast and didn't bring up some of her most memorable moments from the Housewives franchise.
Yes.
And I need you to be aware of these, Pooya, just in case something happens on this season. So, have you? I'm going to guess the answer is no. Have you ever heard of a TV moment, basically referred to as Amsterdam?
Amsterdam.
Yeah, I'm going to guess not.
No. You're correct in the assessment.
That's
here.
okay. You're not, we'll get you to the Bravoverse someday. But
We'll get
so
there.
every season of Housewives, for the most part, there is a group trip to somewhere. Season 5, Lisa's first season on the show, they took a group trip to Amsterdam.
Okay.
And one of the most iconic scenes in Housewives history happens on this trip from Lisa. They're all out to dinner. And there's a lot of people here that you'll recognize. Lisa Vanderpump is there. Brandi Glanville is there. Yolanda Foster is there, who is Gigi and Bella Hadid's mom. She was a cast member on the show for a couple seasons. Kim and Kyle Richards, both prolific housewives. And Eileen Davidson, I believe, is the last one who rounds out this table. Kim Richards, Kyle's sister, has been through a couple of seasons worth of storyline about her drinking. And unfortunately, it's still something that I believe comes up with her today, that it hasn't fully, I guess, been resolved. I don't know, I need a better way to say that, but that is a storyline happening there. Lisa Rinna is someone who unfortunately lost her half sister at a very young age, and I believe it was something related to alcohol. So she brings that up at this dinner. She's talking about how she's just so scared when someone is having an issue with alcohol that she doesn't want to lose somebody else in her life and all this stuff. And it's pretty tense all the way at the beginning of this conversation. Kim Richards does not like people talking about her and her situation and approaching it the way that Lisa seems like she's starting to approach it. One thing leads to another. Kim is going to start talking about Lisa and say, well, let's talk about your situation at home, alluding to, there are some issues with Lisa and her husband, Harry Hamlin. Lisa does not play when it comes to her husband at all. So she starts to say, don't even think about it. Don't even go near my husband. No, we're not doing that. And in the time since, Lisa said a lot about how she thinks that production basically egged Kim on to talk about her husband. It's a whole thing. Anyway, the dinner goes on and Kim pushes further and further into talking about Lisa's husband, Harry, to the point where Lisa is going to reach across the table with her arm out, her hand out, about to grab Kim by the neck, kind of quickly pulls back, but then she gets up, she grabs her wine glass, throws the wine onto Kim, and then you're like, oh, well, that's crazy. And then she stands up, smashes the wine glass on the table, and that is Amsterdam. You should all go watch the clip for yourself. It's like 5 minutes. It's not like a crazy long. There's been a lot of iconic glass breaking scenes in Housewives history. This is certainly one of those scenes. And if I left out a detail, Bravo people, I'm so sorry. Forgive me. But I would recommend anyone go watch that if you want to see the one scene of Lisa Rinna. So I do not anticipate, Pooya, that she's going to break her glass at the round table in such a way, but there is precedent for it. This was a long time ago, but there's precedent.
I don't think it'll happen either. I don't think we're going to get to that level. I mean, that's the hope, but we've also never seen it get that messy at a round table yet. The round table is a very classy spot for an argument. So I don't anticipate that happening, but hey, if it was to ever happen, this could be the cast to get that accolade.
Right.
So,
and one more quick story is just, I believe it was the season after that. Again, Yolanda Foster, again, Gigi and Bella Hadid's mother. She was, I don't know if this was the beginning of her journey dealing with, she was diagnosed with Lyme disease, chronic Lyme disease, I believe, more specifically. But it was, I guess, at the very least, the beginning of the show starting to let us in on that journey of hers. And Lisa, for an entire season, was involved in a storyline where she was, I don't know if she originated the idea. I think she did. That basically Yolanda Foster had Munchausen syndrome, where, if anyone doesn't know what that is, it's basically that you're not actually sick, but you just actually, no, I'm going to totally butcher this, but it's something along the lines of like, you make yourself sick because you think that you're sick, or you just think that you're sick, but you're not actually sick. Google the exact definition. My apologies. But basically implying that Yolanda was not actually sick, despite the fact that that is not reality. She was, and still very much battling this disease, and it's not fake. So for the entire season, it was first her telling the rest of her castmates that she thinks this could be a thing. She's heard people talking about it. Eventually she confronts Yolanda about this, and it's obviously very uncomfortable because it's like, excuse me, like, this real illness that I'm dealing with, like, this is like really affecting my life. You're saying that I'm making it up. Like, so she goes there is really where I'm getting. I told you, a bit ago about how she, by the time she's done with the show, it's because she kind of went too far. This is early on in her run where she's really going far. It's just a consistent theme. So I don't know how much of that we're going to see on the Traitors, if it's the exact same energy that she brings to this show where this isn't Housewives. I don't know, but that's what she's had in her past.
I'm excited. She's going to be messy. She's going to be messy. And like, because like sometimes you never know, right? Because if there's somebody who we saw on television, like on something be messy 20 years ago, I don't anticipate them being messy 20 years later. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
it sounds like Lisa's been consistent.
She has been, for sure. And you're just get ready. Just get ready.
Well, I think I'm ready for that. I'm very excited. It's going to be great to see how she fares in the castle. Just a little preview we saw of her being like, I don't know how this is going to go. Very like lost. I don't mind that. We actually talked about this on the Traitors Canada recap recently, where I don't mind if you are loud and wrong and win, as long as you entertain me. If you're loud and wrong and you entertain me, I'm happy for you to be loud and wrong. It's when you're loud and wrong and boring, that's when you lose me. So I don't think we're going to be bored.
I'd be surprised if Lisa was ever loud and right when it comes to this show and the experience here. It happens, and sometimes other people can help lead you to the answer. And by no means, let me just say, am I calling Lisa like dumb or anything like that? She is far from that. But as far as like coming into this game, I have again no idea how much she's seen of the show. But I don't know, just go back to like that whole storyline with Yolanda Foster. It's just like being loud and wrong is kind of her thing. And so she'll be happy to do it again here.
Well, then she's kind of low key at home here.
Yeah,
because we do get a lot of that. Yeah. Well, Matt, now I'll ask what I asked earlier. Is there anybody that you want to speak on other than Lisa for a little bit?
I think I'm good there. You already plugged, Free Agents podcast. So, we talked about everybody on this cast, and you joined us for that. So got the chance to do that.
I know we did our draft. I do not remember who I drafted.
I'll have to pull that up later. It's hiding in a file somewhere, but we'll refresh everybody. And I think we're going to repost that draft if it's not already up now sometime soon. So check that out for sure.
Perfect. Matt, is there anything else you want people to check out and find?
Well, you got all my plugs at the beginning of the podcast, so thank you for that. But yeah, definitely check out the Free Agents podcast. We will be covering this season of the Traitors as well. So after you listen to everything Pooya's got going on over here, come check us out over there. Going to have some fun guests along the way all season long. And that draft we did with Pooya was a lot of fun. Also talking about the challenge, and then the diary room with Amon Adwin. We talk all things Big Brother year round. We're almost at the end of round one of that competition, so kind of crazy, but I think that's it. Am I putting my prediction on record?
Please, yeah. Where do you think how do you think Lisa's going to fare?
Because I would, have a hard time watching this season and not, sweating it out every single week, because all that matters to me is that my prediction ends up coming true. So I think my biggest prediction with her is that, and I would have said this about Dorinda last season, but I'm going to say it here. She cannot be murdered. The Traitors cannot murder her. She is too good of a candidate to get banished. So like that's the prediction that I really just want to flag, unless we have really bad traitors. Let Lisa Rinna get banished at a round table. It will happen. You can do it. Unless she's just like so loud and wrong to the point where they're like, oh, she's causing some harm to, I don't know. But I think that that's the general prediction. How far she goes in the game is a trickier question, because we have seen housewives at both ends of the spectrum. I might just go somewhere similar that I did with Sierra, and I think I said Sierra was like an episode 8 or something. I might give Lisa a little bit less time because she can be a little messier. Drop like an episode 7.
Okay, episode 7. Yeah, okay. So yeah, so basically, she will get through the first 2 weeks, is what you're saying.
I think so. I think, again, if you're a traitor, you should not be going after such a big personality like this so early on that, you know, is going to blow up their own game.
Right.
And I don't think she's going to be one of the top candidates to be banished right at the start of the game. People aren't going to be looking at her right away, but once she's talking throughout the season, I think that's where she might run into some problems. I really don't know that I see her at the final, you know, fire pit by any means. So yeah, surprise me there, but we'll see. But that's all.
All right. Well, there you go. Again, make sure you check out Matt's content over on the Free Agents, where him and Scally will be covering the season of the Traitors as well. You can find me on all socials at Pooyaism, twitch.tv/Pooya. I will be watching these episodes every week with you all over on my Twitch. So make sure you are followed there if you haven't. As far as podcasts go, talking 90 Day Fiancé over on the Hot Mess Express. So you can find that. Me and Liana talk every week over on the Lounge. That we're having a good time there. So make sure you tune in there. And of course, I would ask you to make sure you are subscribed to this feed if you are not, if not for all the other previews that are coming. Also, the fact that alongside Traitors US, I will be covering Traitors UK Season 4, which premieres January 1st. So it's your one-stop shop for all things Traitors. Make sure you are there and ready to go. Thank you so much, Matt, for joining us here today. I'll be back tomorrow with another expert and another cast member to talk about. But until then, y'all take care. Have a good one. Bye.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.